This episode is sponsored by Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain it to you really quickly. To start off, it's 100% free, and there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will then distribute your podcast for you so it could be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more platforms. In fact, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. If you're interested, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Hey, lovely people.
Welcome back to the Unraveling the World podcast.
This episode is going to be a little different because we have a guest speaker.
So, Palak, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Palak. I'm currently a senior, and I'm really excited to be here.
So, for today's episode, we are discussing social media, the goods and the bad, and essentially everything that branches under that idea.
So, I guess to begin the conversation, I can start by asking a question. So, what's your favorite thing about social media? So, Palak, maybe if you want to start?
I think social media gives you the opportunity and the chance to reach a large platform and be able to connect with people that aren't necessarily in the proximity where you can see them physically, and it gives people the chance to connect and expand themselves to people all around the world.
Yeah, I totally agree. Also, because of COVID and everything for the past 2 years, social media is the only thing that we've had to hold back on, and because even before COVID was a thing, people always looked at it as a negative thing, which it can be sometimes. It can become toxic at times, but also social media and it's the only thing that we've had. For example, my grandparents are in India, and I can't they were supposed to come this year, and it's so sad because they can't come and I can't meet them, and so I've only been able to FaceTime or WhatsApp video call with them, which is so that's one of the good things.
Yeah, FaceTime and all these apps that we can communicate with each other, it can be a great thing sometimes. And oftentimes, I think it's because we're behind a screen, some things can be easier to say. And obviously that can be a very bad thing because of cyberbullying and things like that. But I think it can also do good.
Yeah. Personally, for me, especially like Ishani said, during the pandemic, it's hard to connect with friends, especially if you're social distancing or your parents don't let you go out. I think social media is a great way of being able to still stay in touch with your friends, because they post on their stories and post on Instagram. So I think it's still a great way of being able to communicate.
I agree.
So, what would you say is one of the downsides of social media? What do you not like about it?
I feel like a big downside of social media is definitely the negativity that people spread on it and the judgment that is present in a social media environment, whether it be someone who straight up just blatantly goes up and says negative comments to someone, or another person who easily can hide behind a screen and talk to people about the things that they don't particularly like about someone, or just project their own insecurities onto someone else.
Absolutely, I agree with that so much. Many times, I've gotten some hate about my body on social media and the way I look, and I think it's way easier to do behind a screen. And I don't even know, some say for example, one of my he's not my friend, but he goes to my school, and this guy got his friend to comment on my post these throwing up emojis per se. It could be a joke, and see, for me, I didn't really care, but say it was someone else, someone more sensitive, and they could have gotten more offended by that. So I feel it's so easy to go behind a screen and bully someone, which is what I really don't like about social media. And then I think a lot of it materially and substantially, it disrupts the education process sometimes.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, and also just going back to what Movina said, that's such a huge like negative thing that people, because they feel like, I don't know, like safer behind a screen, they're able to say all these things about you. And I feel like sometimes what people forget is that like people have feelings, you know, just because even whether it be on TikTok or Instagram, like they're posting pictures or making their lives look like luxurious or quote unquote like perfect, like that doesn't like mean that they don't have like feelings and emotions. Like I'm like, sure, people who have that big of a platform, like they go through their comments, and like even on our like Instagram, like we go through every single comment, like no matter how many there are. And sometimes people forget that like these people, like they see your comment and it can like ruin their life, like not maybe it can like ruin their night and like week, and it's just so terrible.
Yeah. And Melvina brought up a big point about like body image and body insecurity. And I think that when people say, oh, like you're ugly and stuff, it might be like people might think, or whoever is like writing that comment might think it's a joke, but the person receiving it, like you don't know how they're going to take it. And I think that plays a big role. So Palak, I just wanted to ask, like, how would you deal with like confidence like on social media, or being able to have confidence on social media?
So I definitely feel like something that I advocate big of, and something that a lot of people have recently been advocating of, is that social media is fake in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Not everything you see is reality, and I play into that. On TikTok very often, I'm very happy, uplifting, like with a lot of energy, but as soon as like the video is over, like it's back to like my like boring, like kind of sappy, kind of gloomy day.
Yeah.
Whatever's going on. So it's like not everyone is as confident as they might seem on that app, as well as not everyone's life is as perfect. You never know what someone's dealing with behind the screen. And sometimes comments like that are negative do get to you and do bring you down. And initially when I started when my platform started building, it did get to me and it would impact me. But I grew resilient to it, and I feel like a lot of people do, but at the same time, it is something that I hope will improve over time. And the toxic mindset that some people have, that it's okay to bring others down based on the insecurities you have, will hopefully go away over time.
Yeah, I agree 100%. But I think that social media itself is not the problem. I think rather it's the way people use it in place of actual communication and in-person socializing. Like per se, friends on social media may not actually be friends, and they might be strangers, you know? So
yeah.
I do agree, but at the same time I do feel like having like social media friends, there isn't anything wrong with that, just because again, like what I brought up in like the beginning, there's a lot of things. I personally have made so many friends through TikTok that I would not have been able to make if I didn't have TikTok, because especially through COVID, like with social distancing and stuff, like some of my greatest friends I found on TikTok, who I haven't physically met yet, but I still like know as a people I still talk to pretty regularly. Like I do feel like social media holds like that great power of being able to bring people together, but at the same time, like I think one of you said, if it's utilized the wrong way, it can make like a huge negative impact.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I totally agree.
Yeah, you can go.
Yes, also like on social media, I think oftentimes people are just more comfortable, and yeah, I mean people, I think I agree with the fact that social media is like not necessarily the problem, it's like the people who are interacting with it. But I feel like the reason like we're the ones saying how bad social media is, but we're also at the same time the same people who are using it every single day. And I feel like that's kind of like an ironic part where like we might not necessarily play into it, but like I feel like whether we're like commenting on a TikTok or everything, the reason so many people like do have this dream or idea of like they want to be famous and everything, or they see all these good things about social media, is because I guess of the good comments the like people who do have that fame receive. Like that's like a really great benefit. Like people, like there are good people out there who like uplift you or like send good messages. there are so many TikTok creators on TikTok that I look forward to their TikToks every day because it just helps me with my confidence. And when I see, especially because there's so many like apps that you can like Facetune your face or like your body and everything. When I see someone with like a similar body type as mine, it just uplifts me as like a person. Just like, oh look, there's another person who looks like me, and they're just so beautiful, you know. And I think that's
Definitely. I definitely think that it once again, it has the power to really make a difference. And I also feel like in today's society, like, it's not really possible to live without technology. Technology has become like an essential part of us, along with social media in some ways. I do feel like social media is something that has become very prevalent, and something that like isn't necessary, but a lot of people deem to be necessary.
So, Palak, what would you say? What's your thoughts on the increased usage of social media? Would you say?
Once again, I feel like there's pros and cons to both sides. I feel like the pros definitely are that like again, like, it's helping people connect, but I do feel like the cons is that it's taking away from real life interaction when it's possible, and people are just like dependent on it. They're dependent on social media, like constantly checking the likes, constantly checking like what other people look like, comparing themselves. Like, it is like mentally draining at a point, and it does like hurt you after a certain point.
Yeah.
What do you think, like, because I'm sure, like, including me, sometimes there are people out there who struggle with confidence. What are like some of your like tips or like things to regain your confidence back?
Falling in love with yourself again is definitely one of my biggest tips, because if you start looking at yourself through a lens of self-love versus like a lens of like constant like critiquing and constant comparison, your confidence will build up by itself. And if you per se like do feel like there's something about you that you would like to change, and it is possible to change, then work towards it. Like, I'm totally victim to this, where I'm like, oh, I don't like my body, but then I won't work out. Like, it's like, do something to change it. Take that step, take that initiative, and I promise you'll be happier in the long run.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, especially on social media, like a lot of, like, I don't know, people have made it seem like once you work out, you'll be happy. Once you have money, you'll be happy. Once you have this, you'll be happy. And they've created like almost like a solution to a problem that you have, when that is just not the case. Like even I feel like, I don't know, sometimes I struggle with it too, but once I like see someone with like something that I like want or something, I feel like if I had what they had, I'd be like automatically just like instantly happy. And that's something that I feel like a lot of people struggle with. And I feel like falling in love with yourself and just understanding and being grateful for the things that you do have, it's such an important key just for happiness in general.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that compare themselves like with the people they see on TikTok, or like if someone has something that they wanted. I mean, I guess that's not a wrong thing, but like constantly comparing yourself and thinking that like that's what beauty standards are, I think that's like when it gets to the point that it's like a problem. But
100%.
Yeah, but like in terms of social media, I feel like a lot of people like rely on it on a daily basis more than we'd like to admit. But I think that the main factor, the main like bad side of social media is probably like the cyberbullying and stuff. I mean, I've never personally experienced cyberbullying like firsthand, but I was just wondering if any of you guys did experience like firsthand cyberbullying and how you dealt with it.
I mean, if you take negative comments to cyberbullying, then I mean, essentially, yeah, like I feel like there has quote unquote like cyberbullying like throughout my time on TikTok. But at the same time, I feel like, once again, like not letting them get to you as hard as it is the most important thing, because once you stop letting it affect you so much, you will be so much happier than when you let that negativity come into you.
Yeah. Also, like another part I feel like of especially for people of color, I feel like there's not much representation on TikTok. Like some of the most famous creators on TikTok, like for example, whether it be the Hype House or whatever houses there are now, but like you don't see a lot of like people of color in those houses, you know?
Yeah.
So when like indirectly, when like me, for example, or any of us, when we are like looking at all these famous people and we're not getting the representation that we need, our brains like automatically assume like, oh, like we notice that, you know? And
Yeah.
I feel like over time, like because this has been an issue for so long, I feel like this has like harmed people of colors, especially like their beauty standard for so long. Because I remember when I was like little, I like whether it be like dolls or like dolls and everything, all Barbies like they have like blonde hair, like I don't know if you guys remember, but they just had blonde hair, and I don't think I saw Barbie and like with I have like curly hair right now. I have curly hair, so I don't think I saw Barbie with like black hair and especially curly like I do for till I was like so much older. Like, and so when I was younger, like I saw blonde, tall, thin, whatever, and that's just automatically I just assumed that was what was perfect, you know. And
I also
feel
think that definitely. Sorry, keep going.
Oh no, that's it.
I definitely feel like it also takes a toll on like people younger girls or younger boys when they look up and they don't see that much representation. I feel like media right now is doing a little better job, but definitely not as near as it should be doing.
Yeah,
definitely. And especially like how Ishani brought up the point that there's not enough, like personally, like I don't see a lot of like brown TikTok influencers in comparison to like other people. So how do you think that like that plays a role on like social media, you know?
I feel like brown TikTok in itself is like, I guess, its own thing.
Yeah.
But I do feel like some TikTokers are more mainstream. But I also in a way feel like if they weren't people of color, they definitely would be getting more recognition and the recognition that they deserve. Intentional or unintentional, I definitely think that hopefully forward, like things will change.
Yeah, and some of the things that I've noticed, I think a lot of the dances on TikTok that are like trendy or like that are being most used right now, like a lot of the time, or even the songs are sung by people of color, like and also the dances are being created by people of color, and whether it be like Addison Rae or Charlie or anyone like famous, like they will credit them. And I feel like people don't understand the importance of credit sometimes. Like when a person of color, they don't get the recognition that they deserve, and the little credit that they do, it's like just a tag in like Charlie's like post or something, or Addison's like post. It's like it matters to them so much, and it's so important, you know. And because they're getting the little credit that they deserve, because once they create that dance or they create that song, it's like completely washed with all these non-people of color of dancing or like singing the song or whatever it be. And that's just so harmful, especially when you're young and you're growing up and this is what you're growing up to. It's so harmful, and this like kind of sets like a negative base in your brain, and it's like something that it's gonna take you a long time to like break that like stigma or
100%.
Yeah, and I think to like kind of conclude the episode, we could just like go around and say something that you would give like advice to someone in regards to social media. So I guess something that I would say is probably if people are giving you negative comments or just giving you negative feedback, or like for something that you post or something that you put on your platform, like don't take it to heart and just like keep being who you are. So anyone else want to go next?
I would say the exact same thing. Definitely don't take it to heart. I mean, if they're saying it behind a screen, then they can't say it to your face. I think that it shouldn't matter. And if they're, and you know, oftentimes people forget that if something like people often, they usually don't say things like that unless there's something wrong with them.
or they might be like
oftentimes-
insecure about it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they oftentimes project their insecurities onto you, which I didn't realize before, but once I did, it helped me deal with a lot. So I think it's good to always keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Definitely keeping a perspective of other people and trying to be the bigger person sometimes will help you go a long way.
Something that I'd say is probably like, especially on Instagram and everything, everyone on my feed would have these like perfect lives or something. And like one day I was like, you know what? And so I just unfollowed all the people who made me mad. Not even mad, just like who I just like didn't want to see like their face or whatever anymore, because I was just affecting my confidence. And so I just unfollowed them. So if you want to clear up your feed and just you want to make it a little more brighter for your mental health, just unfollow the people who just who are not helping with that confidence, you know, even on TikTok or Instagram and everything. And it just helps so much with your confidence. And also just like blocking the hate. I mean, it's like easy to say like block out the hate, but like there's so many steps, and it's like a journey to actually get to that self-love. But yeah, it's like a step-by-step journey, but I'm sure everyone will reach it one day.
Agreed.
So I think this wraps up the episode for today. We had a great time talking to you, Palak, and unraveling social media.
Thank you so much for listening.
I was so glad. Thank you guys for having me. I had a really good time.
Of course.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.